Stop worrying. Stop pacing the floor at night. Stop replaying every scenario in your mind, wondering if you missed your chance, if you lost your moment, if your future somehow slipped through your fingers. My friend, you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned in the wilderness of uncertainty. God already chose your doors. Before you ever arrived at the intersection of confusion, before you ever faced the closed gate, before the opportunity ever appeared in front of you, God already chose the door that belongs to you. There are moments when life feels like a hallway filled with locked doors. You try one handle and it doesn't move. You knock on another and no one answers. You pour your energy into one direction and it seems like every step forward is met with resistance. You start to wonder, did I make a mistake? Did I mishear God? Did I go the wrong way? But I tell you this today, not every closed door means rejection. Some doors are closed because they were never yours to open. God already chose the one that will open when the time is right. When you live under divine direction, nothing in your life is wasted. Every detour, every delay, every disappointment is secretly woven into the grand pattern of God's plan. You may think you are lost, but you are exactly where you need to be for God to reveal the next door. The key to peace is not in trying to force doors open. It's in trusting that God already selected the one that will lead you to your destiny. Worry is the language of those who believe they are alone. Faith is the language of those who know that God is working even in silence. When you worry, you are trying to control what only God can orchestrate. You are trying to write a script that has already been written by divine hands. God does not need your anxiety. He needs your trust. God does not respond to panic. He responds to peace. When you rest in His plan, the doors begin to move in your favor. There are people who spend their entire lives knocking on the wrong doors because they are too afraid to wait for the one God chose. They chase approval, positions, relationships, and opportunities that were never assigned to them. And when those doors slam shut, they fall into despair, not realizing that God was protecting them from entering a place that could destroy their peace, their purity, their purpose. Sometimes the door you wanted to open so badly was never meant to lead to your destiny. It was meant to teach you patience. Every closed door has a purpose. Every delay carries divine meaning. When you see nothing moving, it doesn't mean God has stopped working. It means He is positioning everything in the unseen realm for your arrival. God is not random. He is precise. He is intentional. He knows the exact moment your door should open, and no human hand, no demon, no system, no circumstance can shut what God has prepared for you. There are people right now worried about what others are getting. You see someone else's door opening, and you begin to question God's timing for your life. But remember this. Just because someone else walked through their door doesn't mean yours is forgotten. The same God who opened their door is the same God who will open yours when your time comes. Don't compare seasons. Don't envy someone else's timing. The door God chose for you has your name written on it. It won't open for anyone else. Sometimes God keeps you in the hallway longer because He is still preparing you for what's behind the door. You may think you are ready, but God sees what you cannot see. He knows that if the door opens too soon, what's on the other side might crush you instead of crown you. So He hides the key until you are strong enough to handle the blessing. The delay is not denial, it's protection. Stop worrying about what you can't control. Stop questioning whether your prayers are working. Every word you've spoken in faith is stored in the heart of God. Every tear you've cried has watered the soil of your destiny. The door you're waiting for is not lost. It's simply under divine timing. When God decides it's time, no obstacle will stand in the way. You won't have to force it. You won't have to manipulate it. The door will open naturally, powerfully, and peacefully. Do you know what happens when you stop worrying? You create space for faith to breathe. Worry suffocates faith. It fills your mind with noise and your heart with fear. But faith whispers, God already chose. Faith tells you that your path is secure even when you can't see it. Faith reminds you that God's choices are always better than your own. You may not understand His ways, but you can trust His wisdom. There's a reason God tells us to be still. Not because He wants us to do nothing, but because He wants us to recognize that He is everything. When you're still, you allow His hand to move. When you stop forcing, you start flowing. God cannot pour His plan into a restless heart. He needs peace to plant His promises. And the moment you surrender your worry, the spiritual atmosphere around you begins to shift. There were times in your life when you thought the end had come, yet somehow you're still standing. That alone is proof that God's hand is on you. If He carried you through the last season, do you really think He will abandon you before the door opens? God doesn't lead you halfway and stop. He completes what He starts. The same God who guided you through the wilderness will walk you through the doorway into your promised place. Many people lose faith right before their door opens. They give up during the final stretch of testing. They allow the waiting to break their spirit. But I tell you this, your door is often closest when the pressure is the heaviest. When the darkness feels overwhelming, that's usually the moment before the light bursts through. The enemy always fights hardest when he knows the door is about to open. Don't collapse at the threshold. Stand firm. God's hand is already on the handle. You must learn to trust God's silence. When you can't hear Him, it doesn't mean He's absent. It means He's working in secret. God doesn't announce every move. He prepares it quietly. Just like a seed growing underground, your door is being built behind the scenes. You won't see the construction process, but one day you will stand before what God created and say, "Now I understand." Stop trying to predict which door is yours. Stop obsessing over what you think should happen. God's doors are not chosen by your logic, but by divine foresight. Sometimes the smallest, most overlooked opportunity becomes the doorway to your destiny. God delights in surprising His people. He hides greatness in places others dismiss. That's why you must stay faithful in the small things. The door you seek might appear where you least expect it. When you live under worry, you live under limitation. Worry keeps you trapped in what-if scenarios. Faith keeps you walking forward, even when the path is unclear. God didn't design you to live with tension and fear. He designed you to walk in peace. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice to rehearse your worry or to release it. If you release it, you give God permission to take full control. There are people God is preparing right now who have no idea what's about to unfold. You've been praying, fasting, waiting, and wondering when things will shift. You've felt unseen, unrecognized, forgotten. But what you don't realize is that your name is being whispered in places you've never been. Your door is being discussed in rooms you haven't entered yet. God is orchestrating meetings, aligning hearts, and moving systems in your favor. And when the moment comes, everything will happen suddenly. What took years to understand will come together in an instant. You'll step into the right place at the right time with the right people, and it will feel effortless. Not because of luck, but because it was chosen by God. That is the beauty of divine doors. They don't require you to fight your way in. They open naturally when heaven declares no. So stop worrying about connections, positions, or recognition. The door God chose for you will not require compromise. It will not require you to pretend to be someone else. It will open because you stayed true to who you are in God. There are doors that open through manipulation, but they also close through exhaustion. But when God opens a door, He sustains it. His doors come with peace, not pressure. His blessings add no sorrow. You may not understand why you had to wait so long, why others passed you, why your plans fell apart, but God is building something better. He's not denying your dream. He's refining your direction. You wanted one door, but He's creating a corridor. You prayed for an opening, but He's designing an entire pathway. God doesn't think small. When He moves, He multiplies. The door God chose for you will not just bless you, it will bless others through you. Your testimony will become a doorway for others to find hope. That's why your journey took longer. It wasn't just about you. God was shaping your heart, building your character, preparing your spirit, so that when the door opens, you won't just enter. You'll lead others through. If you only knew how carefully God orchestrates your steps, you would never waste another minute worrying. Every person you meet, every delay you experience, every disappointment you face, it's all connected. God is weaving your story like a tapestry, one thread at a time. You can only see the back right now, full of knots and confusion. But when He turns it around, you'll see the beautiful picture He's been designing all along. The reason worry feels heavy is because it's a burden you were never meant to carry. You cannot control what only God can create. The moment you hand Him your worry, you begin to walk in freedom. You begin to live with a calm assurance that no matter what happens, God's choice for you is perfect. The door may not look like what you expected, but when it opens, it will feel like home. There are seasons when God will close every door just to test your faith. Not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to see if you trust Him beyond logic. When you can praise God, even when every door is locked, you activate a dimension of faith that moves mountains. God honors those who believe without seeing. He rewards those who wait without complaining. Your waiting season is not wasted. It is the training ground for your next level. Every time you choose peace over panic, you grow stronger. Every time you choose faith over fear, you build spiritual muscle. When the door opens, it won't just be an opportunity. It will be a promotion of your soul. You'll walk through with wisdom you didn't have before, with strength forged in the fire of waiting. Do not underestimate the power of divine timing. You can be in the right place at the wrong time and miss what was meant for you. But when God aligns your timing with His will, everything flows effortlessly. That's why you must stop rushing. Stop trying to accelerate what God is still preparing. He knows the exact second when your door should swing open. And when it does, it won't just open, it will stay open. God's doors come with divine favor that no man can revoke. You won't have to chase opportunity. Opportunity will chase you. You won't have to beg for recognition. Recognition will find you. You won't have to knock endlessly. The door will unlock itself at your arrival. Because what God chooses, He secures. There is something divine about the quiet seasons of life. The moments when everything seems still, when the phone doesn't ring, when the plans fall apart, and when the future feels uncertain. It's in those moments that God whispers the loudest. When you can't hear noise from the world, you can finally hear the voice of direction from the heavens. The silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. God speaks most clearly when you stop trying to make everything happen on your own. You must understand, God is not delaying you, He is developing you. The same hand that closes one door is the same hand writing your name on another. And when He finishes preparing that door, it will open without your effort, without your striving, without your exhaustion, because it was already chosen for you. There are people who think their future depends on their ability to plan. But no plan can outshine divine orchestration. You can study, you can prepare, you can position yourself. But when the hand of God moves, it moves beyond logic. When His favor decides to lift you, no human plan can explain it. You might not have the qualifications, but God will open the door anyway. You might not have the connections, but God will align the right hearts to favor you. You might not even feel ready, but God will make you ready in the moment. That is the mystery of divine selection. God chooses doors according to His wisdom, not your readiness. Do not be deceived by how things look right now. Just because a door seems locked does not mean it is lost. God sometimes lets you stand before a closed door to test the posture of your heart. Will you complain or will you trust? Will you panic or will you praise? Some of the greatest blessings are released not through striving, but through surrender. When you lift your hands and say, God, I trust your will, heaven begins to move in your favor. Worry keeps you in circles. Worship moves you forward. There are two kinds of people in life: those who force doors open and those who let God open them. The first kind often ends up exhausted, disappointed and broken because they entered through what wasn't theirs. The second kind lives with peace because they wait for what's divinely appointed. God's doors are not heavy when He opens them for you. They swing wide with grace. They carry the fragrance of peace, and they bring you into alignment with purpose. If a door brings anxiety, confusion, and chaos, it was likely not God's door. God's doors may require faith, but they never steal peace. You must learn to let go of your own timing. There is a divine rhythm to life that cannot be rushed. When God hides a door, He is protecting your destiny from premature exposure. Some opportunities look shiny, but are filled with traps. Some people appear ready to walk with you, but are secretly carrying poison. That's why God keeps certain doors invisible until your spirit matures enough to recognize what is real. If He opened everything too soon, the weight of the blessing would crush you. Maturity is what makes the miracle sustainable. When you see nothing happening, understand this: God is often working on the other side of the door. You cannot see it, but angels are moving, hearts are changing, and circumstances are aligning. God never forgets His promise. Even if you can't trace His hand, you can trust His heart. The divine doors of destiny are built in secret. While you are in the waiting, God is constructing what your eyes will one day see. Every silent day is a brick in the foundation of your breakthrough. Some of you are standing in front of a door right now that seems impossible to open. Every effort you've made has failed. Every attempt has ended in disappointment. But I tell you, stand still. Do not push, do not panic, do not lose faith. That door will not open by human force, it will open by divine command. When God says, no, the lock will fall off, the barrier will disappear, and the opportunity will unfold naturally. What you couldn't do in years will happen in a moment when God releases His favor. You may think you missed your chance, but God does not operate on human calendars. The door He chose for you has no expiration date. No mistake, no failure, no detour can cancel what God has ordained. Even if you took the long road, He can still bring you to the right place at the right time. His timing is not delayed. It is deliberate. The delay is often the disguise of divine perfection. Worry is like sand in the gears of your spirit. It grinds your peace and slows your progress. The moment you let it go, everything begins to move again. Faith lubricates the soul. Worry corrodes it. God wants your trust, not your tension. The proof of faith is rest. When you can sleep while the storm rages, when you can smile while others panic, when you can wait without complaining, that is when God knows you are ready for the next door. There are doors that require no effort because they respond to your obedience, not your strength. When your heart is aligned with God's will, even locked gates recognize your authority. The unseen realm knows who belongs where. That is why you never have to beg for what's yours. God already gave you spiritual ownership over the territory of your destiny. When the time comes, you will simply walk into it. God is not just choosing doors for you. He is also removing doors that lead to destruction. Every disappointment you faced was divine protection in disguise. The relationship that ended, the opportunity that vanished, the offer that slipped away, they were all doors that God closed to shield your soul. You may have cried, but one day you will thank Him for every rejection that saved you from ruin. The wisdom of God is greater than the emotions of man. Look at your life for a moment. How many times did you think something was the end, only to later realize it was a beginning in disguise? How many times did a closed door lead you to something far better? That is the fingerprint of God. He leads you through confusion into clarity. What looks like loss is often the path to lasting gain. God is not punishing you, He is preparing you. You are not walking through life randomly. There is a map written by God's own hand that guides your every step. Each door, each delay, each detour is part of that map. You cannot see it yet, but one day you will look back and marvel at how everything was perfectly connected. You will see how every season of silence prepared you for a season of sudden movement. The hand of God has never left you. It has simply been guiding you through shadows so that your faith could grow stronger than your sight. Do not despise the waiting season. It is sacred ground. Waiting is where faith is purified. Waiting is where trust matures. Waiting is where you stop trying to control and start learning to surrender. God doesn't test your patience to torment you. He tests it to strengthen you. Every minute you spend trusting Him builds your spiritual muscle. When your heart becomes still before Him, you become unstoppable. Many people want open doors, but are not willing to carry the responsibility that comes with them. God knows what every door demands. Some doors require humility. Some require discipline. Some require silence. If you are not trained in the waiting, the blessing may become a burden. That is why God prepares you privately before He promotes you publicly. The delay is the classroom of destiny. And remember, your door is not someone else's door. The path God chose for you is unique. Comparison is the thief of confidence. Do not measure your timeline by another's success. You are not behind. You are simply on a different schedule. The sunrise does not compete with the moon. Both shine at their appointed time. Likewise, your door will open when the divine clock strikes your hour. You must learn to discern divine timing. There is a rhythm in the unseen world. When your heart is aligned with God, you begin to sense it. You begin to move not by impulse, but by intuition inspired by God. You stop chasing and start flowing. You stop begging and start believing. That is when life becomes peaceful, even when uncertain. Because you know that every door that is meant for you cannot miss you. Let me tell you this truth. God's doors never require compromise. If you have to sacrifice your values to enter, it is not from Him. If you have to manipulate to make it work, it is not yours. The door God opens will honor your integrity and elevate your spirit. It will stretch you, yes, but it will never stain your soul. You will know it's from Him because it will bring both challenge and calm, a mixture that only divine alignment produces. Sometimes God hides your door behind adversity. He does not place it on the mountain of comfort, but in the valley of testing. He does this so that only those who walk by faith can find it. The doorway to destiny is often disguised as difficulty. Those who run from hardship miss it, but those who stand firm discover it. That is why you cannot curse the challenge. It is often the key that reveals the next chapter of your calling. And when you finally walk through that door, remember, it is not the end, It is the beginning of another journey. God's doors lead to new dimensions, not destinations. He is an infinite creator, and His purpose for you expands with every step of obedience. Each door you pass through is an invitation to trust Him more deeply, to walk more boldly, to live more freely. There will come a time in your life when everything seems still, no messages, no movement, no visible change. You will look around and wonder if God has forgotten you. But that stillness is sacred. It is not the absence of God's activity. It is the quiet before divine acceleration. When God is silent, He is working in ways that your human understanding cannot perceive. The soil may look dry, but the roots are growing deeper. The field may look empty, but the seed is alive. That is how God works. He prepares beneath the surface before He reveals above it. The silence is not punishment, it is proof that something powerful is about to emerge. Stop worrying about when your door will open. The timing belongs to God, not you. Worrying about timing is like trying to control the sunrise. It doesn't matter how long you stare at the horizon. It will appear when it is meant to. You can't rush light. You can only prepare your heart to receive it. So instead of asking, when, start asking, how can I be ready when it comes? Because when your door finally opens, it will not wait for you to mature. It will expect you to already be prepared. Preparation is the secret key that fits the divine door. Sometimes God keeps the door closed until your motives are pure. You may think you are ready, but God looks deeper. He sees the thoughts that are still rooted in fear, ambitions still driven by pride, the desires still shaped by insecurity. He loves you too much to give you something that would destroy you from within. The door is delayed not because you are denied, but because you are being purified. When your heart aligns with His intention, what once seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly. Purity opens what power cannot. There are people who cry out for open doors, but still hold bitterness in their hearts. They want blessings while refusing to release offense. But God cannot pour new oil into a polluted vessel. You cannot walk through divine doors carrying the weight of old wounds. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the spiritual password that grants you access to higher levels. The moment you release resentment, the flow of favor begins again. God doesn't bless a closed heart. He blesses a surrendered one. Do you realize how specific God's plan is for your life? You are not one of many. You are one of one. The door He chose for you was designed before your birth. That means no one else can take it. No imitation can replace it. No competition can cancel it. What is yours is sealed in eternity. Even if others try to block your way, God can shift the entire atmosphere just to make space for you. He can remove people, rearrange systems, and rewrite outcomes to make sure you walk through what He chose. You don't need to chase opportunity when you are chosen by divinity. Worry often comes when we think the outcome depends on our strength. But destiny is not built on human ability. It is built on divine sovereignty. You don't have to control the process. You only need to trust the plan. God is too wise to make mistakes, too intentional to be random, and too loving to abandon what He created. Even when you cannot trace His hand, you can trust His heart. When everything around you feels unstable, His promise remains unmoved. Sometimes God will make the wrong doors look attractive just to see if you've learned to recognize His peace. Not every opportunity that shines is from heaven. Some doors lead to distraction, not destiny. The true door will carry peace, not pressure. It may challenge your comfort, but it will never compromise your character. When it's from God, it won't require manipulation. You won't have to force people to like you or beg for approval. God's favor creates natural alignment. What is meant for you gravitates towards you. If you want to see the power of divine timing, look at nature. The tree does not worry when its leaves fall because it knows spring will come. The river does not panic when it narrows because it trusts the flow. The stars do not argue with the darkness. They simply shine when it is their time. Everything in creation trusts the rhythm of God's design. You are no different. Your life is not out of sync. It is following a heavenly pattern. You may not see the full picture, but the hand of God never loses control. There are moments when God will let you knock and hear knocking. It's not to discourage you, it's to refine your persistence. Faith must grow strong enough to withstand silence. You cannot expect every door to open immediately. Some require endurance. When God sees that your trust can outlast disappointment, He knows you are ready for greater responsibility. Waiting teaches you what instant results never can. It teaches you dependence on God alone. You must understand that the door God opens will demand a version of you that worry cannot produce. Worry drains your spiritual energy, but faith multiplies it. Worry makes you reactive, but faith makes you proactive. Worry ties you to fear, but faith anchors you in purpose. The person who walks through the door of destiny must be grounded in peace, not panic. That is why God allows certain storms to train you to remain calm in chaos. The peace you practice in the hallway will sustain you in the palace. Sometimes the very things you fear losing are the things standing in the way of your door. God may have to remove people, dismantle plans, or disrupt your comfort to make you ready for greater things. Do not mourn what God removes. He never takes without intending to replace. You cannot hold on to the past and reach for the future at the same time. Release what was and watch how He reveals what's next. The letting go is often the opening key to your next level. When God has chosen your doors, even detours are part of the design. You may think you've taken the long way, but He often leads through wilderness before revealing the promise. The wilderness is not punishment, it's preparation. It's where you learn to depend on His voice, not human validation. It's where you discover that even when no one believes in you, God's choice remains unchanged. The wilderness doesn't delay destiny, it builds it. You will know you are close to your divine door when the pressure increases. Just before the breakthrough, everything will try to distract you. Doubt, fear, exhaustion, people, even opportunities that look right but feel wrong. That is the final test. Can you remain still in the middle of the noise? Can you stay focused when everything around you seems uncertain? If you can stand in peace during the storm, the door will open right in front of you. God doesn't reveal glory to a restless heart. He reveals it to one anchored in trust. Never underestimate what God can do suddenly. Years of waiting can turn into moments of manifestation. The door you have been praying about for seasons can open in one day. But you must be found faithful in the small things. The same God who tests you in the hallway is the same God who honors you at the doorway. When the door opens, it will not only bless you, it will prove that waiting was never wasted. God never forgets the faithful. He sees every time you chose peace over panic, every time you prayed instead of complained, every time you believed when logic told you to quit. None of that was in vain. Each act of trust was building a spiritual foundation strong enough to handle the blessing that's coming. You are not waiting for something ordinary. You are waiting for something divine. And divine things require divine timing. There will be days when it feels like the entire world is moving forward except you. Do not be deceived by appearances. While others may seem ahead, their paths are not your path. The door God chose for you is not in competition with anyone else's. It will open when it is meant to. And when it does, everything that seemed delayed will suddenly make sense. God's timing will redeem every year you thought you lost. One moment of divine favor can restore what decades of effort could not. Worry is the weapon of doubt, but peace is the proof of faith. When you choose peace in the midst of uncertainty, you declare that your life belongs to a higher plan. You declare that you trust the unseen more than the visible. That is the highest level of spiritual maturity. To rest when nothing makes sense. The heart that rests in God becomes unstoppable because it no longer draws strength from circumstance, but from divine assurance. And when that door finally opens, and it will, you will understand why it had to take so long. You will see that every closed door was redirecting you. Every delay was refining you. Every silence was strengthening you. God was not ignoring you. He was preparing you for a level of blessing that required a deeper foundation. The door was never late. It was right on time according to eternity's clock. So, keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing. You are not lost. You are being led. You are not waiting. You are being prepared. The door is not hidden. It is being perfected. The one who chose your doors has not changed his mind. What he said will happen will happen. What he began, he will complete. And when it all unfolds, you will realize that the greatest miracle was not the door opening, but the transformation that happened inside you while you waited for it.